everybody, and welcome to the Frenzy Extra. I'm Andy Lacombe. This is our debut edition here in 2016, and we're coming to you from Fitton Field here on the campus of the College of the Holy Cross, where they are getting the field ready for the Crusaders' home opener against Dartmouth later this week. More from the Crusaders in just a little bit, but we start in the high school football ranks and we look back at our game of the week from Saturday, Uxbridge and Millbury. The Spartans of Uxbridge are now 2-0 after getting a big win, and they're telling us they need to still work on some things to keep the train rolling.
White cone quarterback draw. He's got the first down. He's got the end zone. Touchdown, Uxbridge.
Came out hard, came out fast, and picked up a good team victory. Line blocked great. Receivers made catches. Running backs ran hard. Great win.
Starting 2-0, but where every aspect of your team kind of played really, really well.
There's always room to improve on, but we got to keep coming out. We got to keep playing hard. We got to keep attacking early, getting the points on the board and stopping them on D, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to come out, have a great week of practice, and we're going to go out, play hard again. Coach DeVoe stresses it all the time, play hard, set the tone. So we try to set the tone on defense to come out on offense, and that our defense sets up our offense.
Next week you got Burncoat on the road. What are the keys to winning?
Yeah, I mean, we got to do the same thing. We got to come out and play hard. I think we have to come out a little tougher at first. We got to play with a little bit more of an edge, but we'll be all right, and we'll come out hard, and we'll play hard next week.
Uxbridge.
The Wachusett Mountaineers are 2-0 after a big win over Fitchburg. Now, Wachusett was 2-0 at this point last year as well, and then they lost some key games following a hot start. So Wachusett not taking anything for granted as they look forward to a big matchup with a very tough Shepherd Hill team.
We came out flat on defense, but we picked it up when we saw what they were going to run. So that really helped us. And our offensive line did great all night. Our first drive, we went down, stalled, but didn't stall it from there on out. It was just our line kept us going, and that's where we start, and that's where we finish.
We started off flat, but we came back, kept fighting, and had to just execute all of our plays.
We rallied back nice and tough. We played together. Rally was just more of a team effort.
It was a big win. We stayed tough. Had to come out and really produce on offense once we got the chance.
Starting off 2-0, it's awesome. It's a great confidence booster leading into the next upcoming weeks, and especially against Shepherd Hill, gives us great confidence going to that game. Similar, just like us, they're on the ground. They're a tough team, and they're strong. Just gotta overpower them.
Last year we started off 2-0 and then went into a losing drought, so we just got to keep winning, keep playing tough, and not let our difficult schedule bring us down.
Here are some key games we'll be watching Friday night. Shepherd Hill and Wachusett, just talked about it. The Rams needing a win to get off the schneid. Wachusett trying to remain perfect. Oakmont and Grafton. Grafton looking to remain undefeated. The Spartans gave Leominster a tough matchup a week ago. Tantascwa and Doherty, that should be a good one with the Warriors coming in trying to challenge the undefeated Highlanders. North Middlesex and Algonquin. Can the T-Hawks remain undefeated? And Westboro and Marlboro in a battle of the boroughs at Kelleher Field. All these games and much more coming your way on the Friday Night Football Frenzy this week at 10:25 here on Charter TV 3. All right, when we come back, Kevin Shea and Jim Wilson back in studio breaking down high school football and some news surrounding high school football here in Central Mass. Stay with us.
Crusader All Access.
We put a lot of time into getting better at practice and workout each day and then carrying that forward. Whether it's scoring a goal or coming on the ice, hearing the crowd roar is an amazing feeling. We're preparing to play one of the toughest schedules in college hockey. We need you there.
Holy Cross Hockey returns to the DCU Center to play Providence and Boston College. Get your tickets at 1-844-GO-CROSS or goholycross.com/tickets today. Crusader All Access.
As the only Division I football program in Central Mass, we play at the highest level of college football. It's the people around you that make the experience. My teammates, my coaches, this community, the city, the state. It gives us a boost. The energy level goes way up. The goal is to go out there and win a Patriot League championship, and that starts winning one game at a time. We need you there.
Get your tickets to Holy Cross football versus Dartmouth on September 24th at 1-844-GO-CROSS or goholycross.com/tickets today.
Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Shea joined alongside by the high school sports editor for the Worcester Telegram and Gazette, Jim Wilson, actually the sports editor for the Telegram and Gazette.
Big
Man,
time.
he's wearing
Big
every
time.
hat. He's wearing every hat
More
right
or
now
less
for the Telegram and Gazette. It is you and Steve Lanava holding the group together right now, according to Steve. We're back for another year, and you know what? Forget dipping our toe in the water. Right away, we've got controversy.
We're jumping right
off
in.
the hop.
Jumping right in.
Kevin Mensah trying to transfer to Shepherd Hill, and there's a big holdup right now because Holy Name is not granting the waiver. So you have people on both sides of the coin right now. You have another school in the Midwatch A sending a letter to Holy Name saying, hold it up, don't grant the waiver. You have all kinds of things going on right now. You have lawyers involved. There is judges hearing appeals for this. What's your take on it? And what do you think the likelihood is right now that Mensah will play this Friday against Wachusett? Because he's already missed 2 games.
As chaotic as it is right now, I want to appreciate the lawyers and the anthems and the waivers before we get into power rankings and playoff spots, and which we'll be just shaking our heads over in a couple weeks. So, yeah, it's not the ideal start of the season. You're looking at who's good, who's bad, and who's the champions. We're talking about, if Mensah can get the waiver, we're going to court, we're learning about Form 200s and all this other stuff. We're getting up to speed on it pretty fast. I can see it both ways. I mean, I feel bad because Kevin's a good kid. He meant well. He's just looking out for his future. But unfortunately, there's ways you have to do it. There's certain hoops you have to jump through. And other than that, I mean, if they just, MIA says, he can go to Shepherd Hill without problem, all of a sudden now it becomes the wild, wild west out there, and people are getting super teams and basketball teams looking at it and saying, okay, well, I'm going to bring my AAU team over here because it was okay for them to do it. So I could see them wanting to try to find a way to sort of make both sides happy for this. And,
right. To mediate, you and I have talked about this at length, and both of us have seen this in girls basketball, boys basketball. We've seen kids moving from school to school, from district to district. We've seen a starting 5 on a basketball team where 4 of that starting 5 were not from that school's district. We've seen it with football. So it's a tricky thing. You understand what they're trying to do with the letter of the law, but with school choice.
Right.
With other, when you look at other teams and you can point to other schools, and everyone does and says, well, what about this school? And this school's got 4 kids on there starting in their starting lineup that are not from the district, that's school choiced in. And this one, these kids are school choicing in from 3-4 towns away. And
when the teams are good, you start hearing about that.
Exactly.
Oh, you're good, but what about that kid? You put a mailbox out in the field somewhere, and all of a sudden now you have a 400-pound offensive lineman, just steamrolling kids. It's funny how that works out. But then all of a sudden, 3 years later, Kevin Mensah tries to go to Shepherd Hill, and they're all up in arms with the torches and pitchforks. It's funny how that works out.
It's interesting, and of course
not in my yard.
And we've always heard for years. You always hear all the schools say, "Well, the Catholic schools recruiting the Catholic schools." So the debate to me, the debate would be, okay, what if, say, a kid goes to a Catholic school and is going there free, tuition free, so going there on a scholarship, but he's playing sports and he's a good athlete. So how does that factor into this? How is that different than a kid switching from public school to public school, because he's got a better shot at going Division I, or a better shot at coaches seeing him and maybe more doors open for him.
That's the thing is. I mean, how many kids have played baseball for St. John's but not get the playing time and gone to another school, and all of a sudden now they're doing well at that, they get the at bats. So conversely, if he went from Holy Name to St. John's or St. Peter Marian, would that be a different story? Would people be up in arms? But because he went to Shepherd Hill and Dudley, people are saying, wait a minute here. And the passing league thing happened over the summer. People are starting to raise questions about how Kevin ended up at Shepherd Hill rather than any other school. After the private school thing didn't work out, what happened? And I think that's what the questions they have to answer the MIA, how that sort of road trip went, and he ended up at Shepherd Hill. Who, let's be honest, their staff is phenomenal. They're getting kids seen. I think I said this before on Twitter, and I didn't mean anything bad to say to Holy Name about it. But I don't think Kevin's getting the looks he is, playing Sutton and BMR and South every week and carrying the ball 30 times, gaining 200 yards in a clip, as he would be with Shepherd Hill playing Wachusett, Leominster, St. John's, the Midwatch A schedule, which, let's be honest, they've struggled with since they got realigned. They've been having trouble. Last year, they could be in the same position as last year. They start off the gate 0-4, 0-5. And they can't chase the wins with that schedule.
Right, and right now they're 0-2.
Right.
They're 0-2. They're looking at taking on a Wachusett team that's undefeated, that is playing great football right now. Kevin Mensah is going to make a huge difference. And again, Thursday, what we're hearing is Thursday there will be an appeal in Worcester Court, and we'll find out more if Kevin's able to play this Friday against Wachusett, or if not, if he has to wait, then the MIA won't hear this for another 2 weeks.
Which is
now when you look at it on that side of things, is the MIA doing a disservice to the student athlete because he sat out already 2 weeks, which is what he would sit out if the process was, like normally if you're going from school to school, if they hold it up at all, it's usually, okay, you have to sit 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks. So he sat the first 2 weeks. Now, why does it take 2 weeks for the MIAA, another 2 weeks or another month for the MIA to schedule a hearing when it seems to me, okay, sit down, get both parties in the room, because Holy Name is saying that they're not going to contest this. They're going to support the appeal process. So
they are contesting the appeal. They're not going to sign Form 200.
Right.
But they
when
will
it goes
stand
to the
behind.
appeal,
they'll write him a letter and say how great, good of a kid Kevin is and how he deserves to play. Because that's what it comes down to. Does he deserve to play? After a few mistakes, does he deserve to play at, and help his future with a Division I deal?
Right.
And I think that's just true. He does deserve to plead that case.
Right.
And you can throw all the torches and pitchforks to Franklin and get the MIA. Can you cancel a concussion hearing or some junket somewhere and just have the hearing? He's losing games. There's no reason this should have been. I'm sure Shepherd Hill had a deadline to get the form in to appeal it.
Right.
And for them to say, okay, you got to get the form in 48 hours, and then wait a month. It's 4 games.
Right.
And it's just ridiculous. He's going to sit the first month, and then what's to say on top of that? They don't say, okay, well, we're going to have 2 weeks on top of this.
Right.
So he's missed 6 weeks.
That's over half the season.
It's going to be,
and there's only 8 weeks of the regular season, so you've now missed 3/4 of the regular season.
Carve out the 15 minutes it takes to get the people in the room to have the appeal.
Right.
There should be no reason why this is taking 4 weeks. And they shouldn't have to go to court to make them get to the table.
You're right. You're right, because again, you're talking about what is best for this kid. What is best for the student athlete? And that's what it is here. Okay, he's missed 2 weeks. Now, Holy Name says we'll support the appeal process. You get in there, let him play,
and I'm not saying
let
clear
everyone
him.
get back.
You don't have to, I'm not coming down, because I can see it both ways. I'm not saying they should clear him. At least have the meeting, and they say, you know what, you didn't do this right. We can't clear you. It's going to set a bad precedent. You have to sit for the whole year, or you have to go back. You have to go to North High, or you have to go back to Holy Name.
Right.
Something like that. You just get the future.
But make that call.
Make it a call in his future.
Don't drag it out a month.
Right.
A month into the season. Now you're 4 weeks into the season, and now he finds out his fate. Like, okay, he has to go back to North. Well, can he even play at North because he wasn't enrolled?
Right.
You're supposed to be enrolled in the school the first day of school, the first day of classes. If you're not,
you can't practice with your new team. 11 days. There's a whole bunch of different little bylaws in this whole thing. But who knows? Maybe they waive that. Maybe that's a compromise. You can play at this school, but we'll waive this clause. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But it's just unfair for him and everybody involved.
Right.
Shepherd Hill, Mensa, and the families, everything.
Right.
Make a decision on it. Don't leave this hanging over. Let them everybody move on one way or the other.
And it's tough. You and I talked about this today, for about an hour. We talked about it's very difficult when you see, okay, whether it's school choice, whether it's someone going from a public to a private to a private. Right. It's difficult to say what is wrong, what is right, what is done for athletic purposes, what is done for academic purposes. It's very difficult to do that. And again, a lot of it depends on how old the kid is. If it's a stud player, but he's doing this as a freshman or sophomore, maybe he hasn't gotten the big name, you don't know. And obviously what throws more of a wrinkle into this is that Kevin was going to go to a prep school in Connecticut, and then they pulled his slot at the last minute.
Right.
Again, not his fault, but so it's definitely a slippery slope. But again, you and I said this. It's how do you do this? That now you have these camps, like we said. You go into it now. Football has these camps in the summertime and right before the season starts that are extensions of practice. You don't have 3 weeks of double sessions anymore. You have 2 days of double sessions now. Right. So football coaches are trying to do anything they can to get the team together and get them up to speed. And again, it's always about keeping up with the Joneses. You hear that some other teams already been practicing for 3 weeks, and they've been at some camps for 2 weeks and working together as a team. Okay, no, we need to do that. So it's hard. Where do you draw the line? And where do you say, okay, this is the way we're going to do it? But now everyone on your team has to come from this town or this school district. It's hard.
Exactly. I mean, every year there's a different little wrinkle coming up, and people are finding ways to sort of make the teams get around rules and sort of get, not necessarily in a bad way, they're just fighting, all right, you want to go to Hogworks or you want to go to 7-on-7 passing, that's great because it makes the team better. And it's not, it's not like how many Auburn Summer Basketball League and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Playing that kind of stuff. Or American Legion Baseball, same thing. I mean, there's a lot of schools that are the same players and sometimes the same coaches on the bench there. So having that, I mean, if Kevin went to, what about all the basketball players over the years that went to prep school? You know, the kids,
Right.
you know, the kid from St. Peter Marion, the kid from North, they're all leaving Central Mass schools and going to prep,
Right.
and that's okay because they're trying to get a Division I look at the end
Right,
of the day.
right.
And that's what Kevin
And
was trying
people
to do.
say, right, and people say, okay, well, that's okay. They're leaving after their sophomore year, reclassifying as a
Reclassifying.
sophomore, getting 3 more years at the prep school level. And again, people say, well, he's doing what's best for him, or she's doing what's best for her. Well, this is a similar situation. All right, now looking at this game this Friday.
Yeah.
So now what we have is this is the game of the week this Friday, is you have Wachusett at home hosting Shepherd Hill. Shepherd Hill team coming in 0-2, Wachusett's 2-0. I don't know if Shepherd Hill can afford to lose one more game.
If anything, they need the
you know,
points.
this may be one of those things where you have to win, or is your season, you know, are you done with the playoff picture if you start the year 0-3?
I said it earlier. I mean, last year they had the same problem. They lost so many games early before they started getting right in the ship. The schedule lightened up a little bit more, and they were able to pick up the wins, but they didn't have the points because it was just the way the playoff structure is and power rankings are. They couldn't chase those points. The games they had left wouldn't give them enough wins to do that.
Right.
They need a win here, not only because it's a good team, it's a good statement win. They were close in Shrewsbury, and
Yes.
they had St. John's until the end.
Yeah,
When
St. John's
all of a
leading in the
sudden
fourth
turned
quarter,
on.
and they just went.
Yeah, they just turned on the all bad mode and see you later.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden now, so Shepherd Hill's not that far away.
No.
And I think, mention aside, I think they had a pretty good. They had some great running backs to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. If people want to talk about recruiting, they didn't need them. It
Right.
wasn't like they lost guys to graduation and all of a sudden now.
You got Alec Lindstrom at center, who's going to Boston
Right.
College.
So
you have a Division I offensive
Right.
lineman, and like you said, you got some very good running backs there. You got some other good linemen. McKeon's brother, you know, McKeon's out at Michigan's already caught passes as a true freshman, and his brother's there playing at Shepherd Hill. He's going to be a very
So
good player.
it's still a good team, and Wachusett has a work cut out for them. And I know Mike and those guys, the coaching staff, isn't going to let them say they're 0-2. Don't worry, it's an easy
Right.
win.
No.
That's going to be a battle. I mean,
Yeah.
Wachusett has a great running back with Durkin and Furtado in there, just leading the charge. The typical four-headed attack. They can give the ball to anybody, and they'll gain yardage and just wear them down. So it should be a good see what Shepherd can withstand that.
Yeah, and it's a physical line, and that's
Very
what,
physical.
when
As it always
Wachusett-
is.
When Wachusett's been good, that's what it's been.
Right.
They've had a very physical line on both sides of the ball. They have that again this year, and that's why they're off to the great start. Fatu Melifonwu, we're talking about Division I players.
Playmaker.
Melifonwu going to Syracuse next year. Man, he may be the best player in Central Mass. He's a man playing among boys, really, when you watch him play. It's unbelievable.
Especially last week, you want to think, okay, well, it's a good Division I matchup with him and Cole McCreary.
Yeah.
McCreary's banged up a little bit, not taking anything away from that win from Grafton. But, I mean, just watching those two go at it, you want to see, you know, he's our best player and your best player. Let's,
Right.
You know, get the helmets colliding, the explosion and all that good stuff. You know, and but I think Grafton had a good statement win last week. I think that was proven. Again, we talked about it earlier. Again, you should really subscribe to the pre-show frenzy.
Yes.
It's some of the best
That's what you need.
phone call in the world. But, you know, just to have that kind of stuff that they really, you know, the show, they don't have any, Grafton never has any, like, you know, there's 5 super teamers on that team. It's
Right.
like they have Melon Home, but they have a lot of blue-collar, hard-hitting guys you just love. They'll hit you from the first quarter to the final whistle, and that's been the coaching staff there throughout the years. They instill that kind of thing. That's how they play.
Yep.
And I think they like kind of have that lunch pail mentality, and they're going to bring the same thing to Oakmont. Again, Charlie Raff is one of those guys. When he took over, this is his class. Like, sort of like how Justin McKay and Algonquin see in that class when he came in. They're all juniors and seniors now.
Yep.
They're building that program. This is their vision. And I think Oakmont has made that leap. They took Lemons. They gave Lemons all they could handle last
Yeah.
week. They're for real. They have that passing attack. They're going to, they're just going to really test that secondary and Grafton. That should be a great game this weekend.
Yeah, it is. And as you and I said, talking about this game earlier today, the key is not many teams want to line up and hit for 2 straight hours. Grafton wants to hit you for 2 straight hours. There are teams that want to hit for the first quarter or the first 2 series. But how are you doing when Grafton keeps coming and they want to bang heads?
They want to go
for
overtime
2
just to
hours?
pancake
Yeah,
people.
just to hit more. And you know, and most teams don't want to do that. Talking about Justin McKay, boy, Algonquin's off to a great start.
He doesn't want you to
Is there
talk
a
about him.
better motivator though than Justin McKay? He is a fantastic
There's the
motivator.
Pruder film of Central Mass.
Fantastic.
Just, you know, he's right now he's splicing this video together to show us trashing that team and saying,
You're right.
no, Algonquin has no chance. Now, that's your clip right there. He's like, they'd be in a
Right,
locker
that's what
room,
he's gonna
and the
use.
kids that don't watch the show, they're like, oh, Wilson's just crapping over Algonquin. Class of 95, never would do that, man. Go Tomahawks.
That's true, but he's done a great job there.
Yes.
You got to, like, he's changed, like, you know, in terms of football practice, and you and I played in the era where it was not fun at all. It hurt, it was punishment,
Right.
it was pain, it was monotonous. Justin's brought up tempo. They got speakers out there. It's like there's a DJ in there. They
Oh, yeah.
have different playlists. he's done a lot to keep the kids' attention,
Right.
and he deserves a lot of credit.
And that's what, when they brought him in, that's one of the things they had. They've had a revolving door of coaches for the last couple of years before he got there. He needed to change the tune there. He needed to really just show, I'm in the building, here's what's going to happen from day one, and I'm here. He's not looking to go somewhere else. You know, I think that's
We're out of time.
great.
We're out of time already.
Already?
Justin, we're out of time, but I'll tell you, the T-Hawks are playing great. We will be back with more of the Frenzy Extra right after this.
One of New England's oldest and fiercest rivalries adds another chapter as Dartmouth visits Holy Cross. Live coverage begins Saturday at 1 p.m. on Charter TV3.
You can't get Worcester weather from a Boston TV station. The sun could be shining in downtown Boston, but the weather could be very different here in Worcester. People tell me all the time how much they count on our weather forecast, and we know how important that is to our Worcester News Tonight viewers. Each weekday, we'll give you your weather, your 10-day forecast for right here in Worcester, only on Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester's only local forecast, weeknights on Worcester News Tonight.
Well, in football, we hear a lot about family, but for one family, 3 brothers in Grafton, all playing or will play Division I college football. The Melifonwus are a special group of athletes, and as our Brenna Wilson found out, Ifatu, the youngest, has a special connection with his older brother.
Being able to compete in football after high school is a dream for many players. For the Melifonwu brothers, it's a reality. Grafton senior Ifatu Melifonwu announced his intention to play football at Syracuse University this summer, following in his older brother's footsteps of playing Division I football.
I'm excited for the future.
Ifatu's brother Obi is a standout player at UConn.
I'm so proud of him. I watched him grow as when he was in Pop Warner till now. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do in the future.
It's rare for multiple players from one small town in Massachusetts to go on to play D1. Now add in 3 brothers from that same small town. Speaks volumes to the competition in the area.
Brings like a spotlight on the school, I guess, and it kind of shows that like what the coaching here can do too, not just like talent.
I think one of the things that's exciting about Central Mass football this year, one of the many things, is the number of kids that are committed to Division I school. It's exciting to see Central Mass on the map. You know, it's something that a lot of us have known for a while, that Central Mass has some really, really talented kids.
Coach Chris McMahon has seen each of the Melifonwu brothers go through the Grafton football program, and he says they each were talented on and off the field.
Him and his brothers over the years here at Grafton have done a great job of, stepping up when we've asked them to. So we're really proud of what his brothers have accomplished before him and generally what he's done here at Grafton High Schools.
When it came to the final decision of where to play football, Ifatu discussed it with his family, but says the decision was all his own.
So, my brother was like, he didn't really care where I went. Like, he wanted me to go like my choice.
He's his own player. He's his own person. I obviously encourage him as much as I can, but I have strong faith in him that he'll be able to achieve the goals that he wants to achieve as well.
Syracuse football visits UConn this weekend, and Ifatu will be there cheering on his older brother Obi. Now, while there might be some rivalry between Syracuse and UConn on the field, for the Melifonwu brothers, it is anything but. For the Frenzy Extra, I'm Brenna Wilson.
Thanks, Brenna. When we come back, the college football scene. We go one-on-one with head coach Tom Gilmore here at Holy Cross and check in with the Greyhounds of Assumption. They're playing good football. The Frenzy Extra still to come. Stay with us.
Check it out! Bay State Savings Bank brings you
Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's a catchy word for earning cash that just might make you want to dance. Get paid for doing simple things you do anyway. That's free Kasasa checking.
Ask for Kasasa by name at Bay State Savings Bank, proud sponsor of the Friday Night Football Frenzy. One of New England's oldest and fiercest rivalries adds another chapter as Dartmouth visits Holy Cross. Live coverage begins Saturday at 1 p.m. on Charter TV3.
Seems like forever since Holy Cross played a home game here at Fitton Field. They will do so on Saturday against Dartmouth. Now, Holy Cross is 1-2 after a tough loss to Albany in week 3. The Crusaders a little bit road weary, happy to be home this week.
It's mid to late September and we haven't played at home, so it's exciting to get to play at home in front of the home crowd, and just not to have to be on the road. And it also seems like we've progressed fairly, through a fairly big chunk of the season already. So, we've been road warriors for the last 3 weekends, and after 4 weeks of preseason camp. So it's going to be really exciting for us to play at home for the very first time.
Can you be road weary even 3 weeks into the season based on the schedule that you've had?
You really can, especially if the games were far away, which our first one was, or if they're night games, which the last 2 were. Because you're not getting home until the middle of the night in those situations. So you do get tired, and it affects your recovery going into the next game. It affects your preparation for the next game, because if you're getting home in the middle of the night, you can't ask the players or coaches to come in a couple hours later and start working again. So you have to completely modify your preparation week.
What's the mood of the team, of you and the team, coming off of a loss to Albany, coming in 1-2 to your home opener?
After the loss was a lot of frustration and disappointment, but a lot of commitment to get refocused on what we need to do to improve. There's a lot of confidence in the team and the coaching staff that we can be better.
We've got the home opener here at Holy Cross for you live on Charter TV3. It is Dartmouth and the Crusaders. Our broadcast being live at 1 o'clock on Charter TV3. Across town, the Assumption Greyhounds are 3-0, and Bob Chesney's team rolling right now. The offense putting up points and getting contributions from many guys right now on their roster.
Friday was a huge challenge for us. Going into the game, that was the game last year, was a 60-50 win on our part. We gave up over 600 yards of offense. So, our kids certainly understood the challenge. It was a turning point for our season last year as well. As soon as that game was over and we had a chance to watch that film, be critical of one another, and really question the way we were doing things, especially pursuit and effort. We knew this was something we talked about for a full year now, trying to get back and play our brand of football, which we were able to do, as we went out on Friday. So getting the 3-0 was huge. Being able to do it in front of our home crowd was huge. And I think our guys certainly stepped up to that challenge and were able to produce in moments where we needed them most. Offensively, we're not one-dimensional, and I think that is the key. We have the ability to spread the ball around, from Deontay Harris to Ashton Grant. Mark Monks does a great job of checking us in and out of plays, and there's a lot that's on his shoulders that he's got to be able to do. Having Alex Shane run the ball, Dylan Oxen run the ball. We talk about our tight ends and Cody Lynn, and just the overall amount of weapons that we have offensively. It's something that we got to just continue to, again, not be one-dimensional. Even though Ashton seems to show up in the stat line more than most, a lot of times it's just because he's in one-on-one coverage, and those are shots that we feel like we got to take. But we have a lot of weapons, and I like our ability right now as far as the year has gone to protect the football. We haven't turned it over much, and I hope we can continue that.
To the Dean's List now at the college ranks, Obi Melifonwu at UConn, 11 tackles in a win over Virginia. He leads the Huskies in tackles so far this season. Tyler Berry out of Oxford, playing at Worcester State, 7 catches, 120 yards versus Bridgewater. Mitjan Silaj out of Doherty won a state championship there, playing at WPI, 35 yards receiving in WPI's win over Norwich. He also had a touchdown. Nick Ostrowski out of Shepherd Hill, 6 tackles for WPI. The locals playing well for the Engineers. Trey Watson from St. Peter Marion, playing at Fitchburg State, leading the way on defense. 11 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss against Framingham State. And Zach Howard out of David Prouty, playing at Westfield State, 14 tackles and a forced fumble against UMass Dartmouth. Well, that'll do it here for the first edition of the Frenzy Extra for 2016. We hope to see you Saturday afternoon here at Fitton Field for Holy Cross and Dartmouth. But first, we'll see you Friday on the Frenzy.